Hello, my little fuzzy bat butts, and welcome to another Lady of Haunts video. Lady of Haunts videos are meant purely to be fun and taken with a grain of salt. These things are not set in stone and they're not absolute truths unless these things have happened to you. Today we're going to be talking about Ouija boards or spirit talking boards. So the first thing I'm going to say is that I do not think Ouija boards are evil. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. So if you're into paranormal investigating and using equipment like EVP readers or talk boxes, to me, a Ouija board is exactly the same as those things. It's just a device to talk to spirits through. The problem is that a lot of younger kids that have never been on a ghost hunt, they haven't worked around paranormal, they haven't worked with anything that has to do with the metaphysical realm, they hop in really fast, like nose first. They dive in face first into this world by using this Ouija board. Of course, they get answers. They're expecting negativity. They receive negativity from whatever is communicating with them, and automatically they think it's evil and they're ready to throw it away. The problem is this experience would have been better if they chose to go a different route and maybe gone with someone that's more experienced, or just kind of read more books on paranormal and communicating with the dead. Ouija boards themselves are not evil. That's like saying a talking box is evil, or saying that an EMF reader is evil, or even a flashlight. People use flashlights on investigations, and you just like lightly unscrew the top of the flashlight and you can lay it down, and a simple tap or anything could make that flashlight turn on and off, and people use that to communicate with spirits to get answers. They'll ask spirits to turn on the light or turn off the light for yes or no answers. Have I used a Ouija board? Yes, many a time. I've used a Ouija board a lot. And have I ever had a really negative or evil thing happen? Never. I've had weird noises and things of that nature, but I've never had something that has attached onto me or has followed me around. But then again, I have been very heavily involved in paranormal things and paranormal hunts for quite some time. I also am pagan, so I work a lot with the other side, and I work a lot with nature spirits and things of that nature. So I'm not scared by these things, and I think most of the things that would haunt someone or bother someone feeds off of fear, and the fact that I am really not intimidated by any of this makes me not a target that they would want to go after, because they're not going to get anything from me, so there's not a point to go after me. No, there's not anything to be afraid of. So if you guys have like this inclination to try it out, by all means try it out, but also be smart about how you do it too. And if you don't think that you're ready for it, or you don't think that you've had enough experience with the other side, then I would just kind of tiptoe around it and be more cautious about what you're doing. Everybody's first experience with the paranormal is usually pretty intense, and it stands out the most just because you aren't used to it and you don't know what to expect. So it feels a lot more intimidating and a lot more scary than whenever you've been in the field for a long time and you have stuff happen. Eventually you're just kind of like, oh, you know, whatever. I've had this happen before, it's no big deal. And that's kind of at the point of where I am right now, so I think that's why I can talk about Ouija boards and spirit boards or things of that nature very nonchalant and not caring, because I have had so many experiences that it's really not something that scares me. So how do Ouija boards work? They're really, really simple. Usually you at least have a group. You can have 2 people that work on it. You could even do it by yourself, or you could have 3 or 4 people. You can have a pretty large group. And what happens is you have a planchette that goes on the board. The board has the alphabet and some numbers and a yes and no. You put the planchette on top of the board. Everybody puts one hand on top of the planchette very loosely, and the planchette moves itself around to spell out words, to give you dates, and to do various other things, sometimes make shapes. So my witchy friend works very closely with the dead. He works more with the dead, things that have crossed over. His craft and what he is gifted with is talking to the other side and working with the other side, where my craft is more nature based and I work with fae and things of the earth like herbs, and anything that you would find on a nature walk are things that I work with, whereas he is someone who works with things that are crossed over, where if he went to a graveyard, that would be a heyday for him. Every time that I have used a Ouija board, it's been with this witch friend that I am talking about. He is very well versed in what he's doing, and he always brings forth these really awesome results with the Ouija board. So I'm going to tell you guys 3 different stories about whenever I've used a Ouija board, and only 3 stories because these 3 stories are the only time that something has like really stood out to me and I remember it very well inside my mind, whereas other times I've used the Ouija board, it hasn't quite been so epic or awesome or lively. It's kind of hit or miss sometimes whenever you use a Ouija board. So the first time, the first story I'm going to tell you about is whenever Brady, myself, and my friend were using the Ouija board, and Brady actually had one of his ancestors from the Choctaw tribe, which he is a descendant of. It's a part of his blood, come through, and it was telling him life advice, and it was kind of just talking to him specifically, and I got really excited. I was like, oh shit, your heritage, like your bloodline is talking to you. I want to hear from my bloodline. I want to hear from my heritage. So I started trying to ask the board. I was like, can one of my ancestors come through? Can one of my ancestors confirm different parts of my bloodline? So on and so forth. And instead, Brady's person who was coming through, we believe it was a female, she directed her attention towards me, and she started telling me that now that I am married to Brady, I'm actually a part of their tribe now, and I'm a part of the Choctaw tribe because I've married into it, and that now I have like this family tie with them, which kind of made me feel really nice. I've always felt like a black sheep, and I've kind of always felt like a loner, so that was a moment where I felt like really accepted and loved. The next moment that really stands out to me, and it's not even like that epic of a story, we were using the Ouija board, myself, my friend, and his younger sister. We were sitting around it and we were just asking basic questions. Who wants to come through? Who wants to talk? We're ready to receive your messages. And a spider appeared literally right in front of me where it wasn't there before, and it freaked all of us out so bad. We kind of all shot up from the board. It was crazy. And I asked my friend about it, and he told me that he has a lot of spiders show up randomly whenever he is using his spirit board. So that was like a really simple and small story, but it freaked me out really bad. The next story I have is a little bit more epic because it was a lot more eventful, and I think it's the most eventful thing I've ever had happen with a spirit board up to this date. It was myself, my friend, and my friend's female friend. We were all sitting around the board asking questions, and I could tell that my friend's female friend was very, very uncomfortable, and I could tell that she was afraid something evil was going to come through, and she was just really focused on like thinking that this negative energy is going to come through. And what I've found is whenever you're focused on something, or you think that something's going to happen, like negative, it typically will happen because you're kind of putting that intention out there and you're calling out to it for it to happen to you. Needless to say, we had a spirit come through on the board who was trying to make figure eights on the board, basically making a portal. We dismissed it, and we were trying to talk to other spirits, but this spirit that was trying to make the portal kept coming through. And the next thing we know is we start hearing things in my friend's kitchen moving. Like, we could hear tapping on the cabinets, and we could hear kind of just things shuffling in the kitchen. So my friend's female friend gets up to go look in the kitchen, and you can still hear things moving. Like, she's standing there staring in the kitchen, and you can hear stuff moving in the kitchen still. And then I feel this overwhelming dread, and I kind of, in my mind's eye, I get this picture of this demon creature, if you will. I don't believe in demons. I think it was more like a nature spirit or something, or something more from the earth. I thought it was an earth spirit of some sort. Was in my friend's bedroom, and I told him, there's something in your room, you need to go check it out. He goes in there, and he told me he could see something. He chills in there, and he's trying to talk to it, and we're still hearing noises in the kitchen and things happening in the kitchen. So after everything's all said and done and we dismiss, we're still hearing noises around the house. We turn on all the lights in the house because we originally had all the lights off in the house. Still hearing noises. We end up burning sage and trying to cleanse the house. And eventually the noises stop and everything stops and it's quiet again and it feels still again. But I think that was the most creepy thing that's ever happened, just because I've never had actual physical things happen while using a Ouija board, and the scraping and the scratching noises on the cabinets and things of that nature was very intense and not what I was expecting. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to share your experiences down below in the comment section. Feel free to comment what other paranormal topics you would like me to cover in the comment section down below. I love you guys. I'll talk to you again very, very soon. Be safe. Mwah! Tschüss. Tschüssi.